Hello, my name is Spencer Stewart. I'm a producer. I live here in Sherman Oaks. This is my house. This is where I made the album A Matter of Time with Laufey. And the last song on that album is called Sabotage, which I have open on my computer here. And I was hoping that I could take you guys through it and talk about some of the decisions that were made consciously or unconsciously. Let's go! So, I think the unsuspecting listener might think that this is just another Laufey piano ballad, but they will quickly realize that it is anything but. Let's listen from the top. So there is a little foreshadowing of disaster there. If you listen to the cellos in that intro, it starts really beautiful and then starts to show its teeth a little bit. So that idea right here really accentuates the chaos. And we're going to hear a lot more of that. It's just a little taste of it that we develop later in the song. And then it's just a nice Laufey, we get to listen to Laufey's beautiful voice. I get in my head so easily, I don't understand, I'm my worst enemy. Let's just look at what we're doing in the pre-chorus here. The verse has this really nice, pleasant major progression that just goes back and forth. And then when you get to the pre, it starts introducing some questions, which is right here. Big question mark. Even bigger question mark. It's just a matter of time. And then it resolves and it goes back to that home key. Something to think about when you're crafting chord progressions is how long do you want to withhold the return to that tonic chord or you know what the listeners have grown accustomed to hearing. If you're going to depart, how long can you get away with staying away before you come back? Because the longer you stay away, you're going to create more and more tension, but then at a certain point it's too much and you kind of lose the game. So I think this is the balance that we struck there. And then you return home and you have this nice bed of strings to aid in that arrival home. So that's actually a bunch of independent cello lines that are arpeggiating the chords slightly differently, but when you mix them together, it just sounds like this mass of, you know, there's not a lot of notes. There might only be 3 or 4 notes, but the rhythms and the way that they're communicating it is very complex. So it's like you have simplicity and complexity at the same time. If you were to only hear that, you might not know what's happening, but it kind of creates this texture of uncertainty beneath those home chords. It's just a matter Keep going. Of time till you see the dagger or cold, bloody, bitter sabotage. Well, we have to talk about that, don't we? I think a lot of people, when they hear that for the first time, might think something's wrong with their speakers, or maybe it accidentally skipped to another song or something. That's just the intrusive thoughts of the protagonist here. It's a jump cut. It's kind of a jump scare. You know, I hope it scares the crap out of people the first time they hear it in a good way. You're starting to get a sense of like something bad's gonna happen. Things are not well. They seem like they're pretty enough, but something's going on under the surface. I'll get in the way
just like I always do. You wish.
So those strings there that accompany the second verse are kind of clock-like. You know, they're metronomic. It's such a contrast from the chaos we just heard. It's this classical, beautiful, very polite, you know, you let go for a second and then you button yourself back up. And it also has this kind of clock tick-tock effect. It makes me think of Enya. Let's talk about these strings here. I mean, this song up to this point is just piano and strings, so there's going to be a lot to talk about with the strings. So we made this record, as we made most of the songs on the record, in this room with the Laufey Orchestra, which is just Laufey playing cello a bunch of times. So let's listen to that again. This is the Laufey Orchestra. That's just probably, I would guess that particular instance is maybe like 20 different Laufeys, just layered. And she sits right there with her cello, and she usually warms up with some Bach. And then when she's done warming up and I got my levels and I've put the microphone in the correct place, then we just kind of let it rip and start spitballing, and she'll have an idea, and then I'll, oh, what if you did this? And I'll sit at the piano, and we kind of just improvise, really, you know, we improvise these arrangements, and if we need to, sometimes we'll kind of do a shorthand, not really notate it, but just she's developed a bit of a shorthand to memorize the arrangements. But yeah, that's all Laufey. That's all Laufey. All the instruments on the records that we make together are played by one of us, and a lot of times it's both of us at the same time, or it's, you know, she'll play the verse piano and I'll play the chorus piano for whatever reason. So it's just a matter of time before you see the dagger, right? Well, that's what the second chorus, we bring in these higher strings that kind of delay resolution. And I think of it as like, it's the dagger and then the twist. It's this like, I mean, that's the effect it has. Now you resolve, you know? So if you listen, the upper strings are not resolving at the same time as the lower strings. The lower strings follow the chords, and then these other strings hold on a little bit longer, and it does create this really wonderful tension that feels right under that lyric. It's a matter of time before you see the dagger. Doesn't that just feel like you're getting stabbed? Feels like you're getting stabbed. I never thought that the most violent song I'd ever produce would be a Laufey song. I will say that. There's something about a sustained note from a vocalist that can be the most devastating, powerful thing in a song. Especially since, having heard the first chorus, we expect it to resolve, and she just holds on to it. Embrace your heart. Boy, every time I hear that. So yeah, this is the first song we made, and I think once we got to this outro, it was a clear sign to ourselves as we made the rest of the album that we weren't doomed to simply repeat ourselves, and we could find some new territory, at least for Laufey and myself. And it was so, I think it gave us both a lot of hope in making the rest of the album, that, you know, it also created a bar. And there's something smart, I think, about starting the writing process with the last song on the album, because we realized that this should probably be the last song on the album, because then you can kind of create a logical story working up to that. Okay, so this outro has a lot going on in it. First of all, it's kind of built around this chord progression, which I guess the best way to show that would be to solo these BGVs right here. Oh, you get the resolution. We had Laufey's bass player Dario come in and play some upright bass, and if you listen to his, he's playing it with the vocals. But there's also this chaos in the background where he's taking that melody and just twisting it upside down and flipping it and throwing it at the wall. And the same thing's happening if you go to Laufey's cello track. Actually, no, that's just an A24 film. That's just that's just straight horror. Jeez. So that's part of the soup. And then in the piano, you hear that idea being recycled as well. Check this out. So here's all the pianos together in the outro. But then you have this guy come in and say, it's essentially what it is someone's lost their mind, and it's the rosebud, right? It's this phrase that they can't get out of their head, and they just keep repeating it, and then they flip it around, and it's like this is a depiction of someone losing their mind, which is kind of what the album's about. If you listen closely, you're going to hear some trumpet, kind of given a. There it is there, and then it's reversed here. So these are taken from another song on the album called Cuckoo Ballet. And the idea with that is when you're in this dream state, when you're losing your mind, there is no past, present, future. It's just everything is happening at the same time. Again, the album's about time. There's a lot of different types of time that we communicate with this. There's linear time. There's the time of madness where everything's happening at once. And I think that is what this moment is about, is memory and dreams and just everything collapsing into one moment. And then my last thing that I'll mention in this outro is this drum part where, I don't know, I was possessed by the song. I'm not a very good drummer, but I sound okay here. There are some moments I just was feeling I was caught up in the energy of it. I remember quickly running back there and grabbing some sticks and I think this was the only take that I did. But I missed the drum at one point and just yelled, and Laufey immediately was like, we have to keep that in there, that's on the record, so I'll play that part. And then, it just ends abruptly because I don't know why. That's just what you do with this sort of thing. And that's Sabotage. So thank you for letting me show you a little bit of what's under the hood and share this song that we love so much with you guys.